Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to be unboxing 3 new fragrances I recently got in, all from Canadian perfumers. So let's jump into it. All right, we're back with another unboxing first impressions video of 3 new fragrances that I recently got in. All of these are from Canadian perfume brands, and for those of you out there who are new to the channel or just don't know, I am actually Canadian. I'm living in Canada right now, and all of these companies reached out to me, said, hey, we got some fragrances, want you to check these out, and it kind of all lined up, so I'm gonna do a great Canadian fragrance unboxing today. So link's gonna be down in the description if you decide you wanna check any of these fragrances out, and let's quit screwing around and let's get into it. All right, kicking things off, going to the house of Ambira, and it's Ambira's Honey Tobacco. Now you scoop this up for $56 and don't know too much about this. This company reached out to me and said, hey, check out our stuff. I looked at their website and they have a whole lot of good looking fragrances here. So they sent this one over to me and we're just gonna check it out. All of the fragrances today did not come with cellophane, so I'm just gonna give you the obligatory knife flip right there, but we're not going to be cutting anything today, unfortunately, so I apologize to those of you who really like it. So box presentation on this, really nice thick cardboard going onto it. Does have a flip-up bottom, kind of like this, a very magnetic sort of bottom going onto it. Some of the necessaries on the back like that, and it does open up like so, revealing our fragrance bottle and our little travel bottle that's sitting on the inside there. So nice box presentation, a little bit of a spiel going on right there, and overall, nice box presentation. And the bottle presentation on this, also quite nice. This really reminds me of the Encre Noir series. It's very much got that wooden cap, same sort of shape and proportions going on to it. This is a 50 ml bottle, I believe, but nice thick glass cap on this. Is a nice thick wood to this, a good quality cap on this, and the atomizer on this sucker, if I can find it, there it is. Ooh, is that pressurized? Oh, hell yeah, pressurized atomizer. Yeah, 10 out of 10 presentation when you give me a pressurized atomizer. Very impressive. But what does it smell like? So right off the rip, just smell this in the air. Beautiful opening on this one. Nice mix of some spice going on. There's some like nice aromatic freshness that's there, a little touch of some white floral, but you're getting this really nice tobacco note that's coming through, kind of like a dry tobacco leaf, mixing in with some tonka bean, maybe a little bit of vanilla right there. So it's got a little bit of sweetness, but it's got this kind of nice dry earthiness that's mixing in with this like cinnamon spice and some fresh aromatics as well. And you're definitely getting that kind of like that honey, that kind of texture that's coming through, mixing in really well with that tobacco. So it's really got that Zoha Naxos sort of vibe going on to it, and I'm digging this. Let's just get this on paper, dive in. So right off the rip, just smelling this off paper. I'm getting a little bit more citrus off the paper in this initial opening than I was in the air. So it's got this nice kind of zestiness going on to it. A little bit of a tart bergamot, some lemon mixed in there. You're still getting that lavender that's coming through, but it's mixing in with that white floral. It's got a bit of that tonka bean coming up. Not as much tobacco in this initial opening as it was in the air, but kind of like a nice kind of fresh, lively aromatic style of opening with hints of that kind of like honey tobacco in the background, but it's more about this kind of freshness in the opening, but I'm digging it. As it's opening up a little bit more, it is starting to turn a little bit more away from that citrus and move more into the main accord. So there is this really nice kind of like white floral jasmine that's in there that's mixing in with this creamy tonka bean. There's that hint of that spice coming through. The honey tobacco note is sitting in behind. It's not the main player at the moment. It's got this really nice kind of muskiness that's starting to develop. So mixing in with that white floral, giving kind of like a soft white floral sweetness, mixing in with that cinnamon spice, giving it a little bit of warmth. So there's like a nice contrast that's starting to happen with that kind of dry earthiness and that honey texture that's sitting in the background. Really quite nice. It's, even though it's like got a lot of that white floral, this is very much leaning on the masculine side. It's just got that kind of like that gentlemanly like muskiness that's coming through with this white floral and those spices. I'm digging this. This is nice. Yeah, this is really nice. So like the quality on this is fantastic, and it's really reminding me of that Zoha Naxos. A little bit of a twist going on to it, but there's nothing competing right here. All the notes are working together really well, and it's developing into a really nice fragrance. So let's skip to the dry down, see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. All right, back with the dry down of Ambira's Honey Tobacco. Been about an hour. Let it settle down, do its own thing. Gorgeous dry down on this, like smooth, nice, like earthy, dry style of tobacco that's mixing in with this really nice honey. You're still getting hints of this like white floral sweetness that's there. Adds this kind of like this opulent, almost aromatic, sweet floral touch that's around the edge of this like dry, earthy honey tobacco. That cinnamon's there, adding some warmth and some additional spice. This almost kind of woody style of tonka bean mixing in with vanilla. So it's like this vanillic dry wood mixing in with that honey tobacco. It's just doing it for me. It's a really nice, like smooth, like almost kind of comforting style of fragrance with a nice mix of the sweets, the spice, the earthiness that's going on, nice soft edge with those florals, and it's just absolutely working for me. Very similar to that Xerjoff Naxos style of DNA, and good first impression from this house. You never know what you're gonna get in the mail sometimes, and this one definitely did it for me, so I'm definitely gonna be checking out more of their fragrances because the quality's definitely there, and I am digging how this one came together. So for 56 bucks, personally, pretty happy that this is in my collection. And if you're into kind of like honey tobacco, Xerjoff Naxos style of fragrances, I think these guys are definitely worth checking out. That's Amberia's honey tobacco. All right, next up, going to the house of Zoha Aroma, and it's Zoha Aroma's Arabian Nights. Now, scooped this up for $45, and I featured a few Zoha Aromas in the past. Really enjoy their fragrance house. They got some really great dupes, and this apparently is one of their original concoctions, so let's check it out, shall we? And it's a bag again, no knife here, but bear with me. All right, there we have the bottle presentation for Zoha Aroma's Arabian Nights. Pretty straightforward looking bottle, nice round corners going on to this one. If you're familiar with the house, you've seen this style of bottle before. Cap on this, a bit of a thin acrylic. I could crush this in my powerful hands, but I'd have to give it a little bit of a squeeze in order to do that, but it is kind of a thin plastic, and the atomizer on this, nice fat, ooh, there we go. Nice long puffs. The Zoha Aroma's got this kind of mechanical thing going on, so I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds kind of gangster. A little bit of extra audio pleasure for you. But what does this smell like? So right off the rip, just smelling this in the air, a big bouquet of florals going on in the opening here. There is a hint of some woods that are there as well, so this is kind of pulling it back down into kind of a unisex territory, but this is very much a floral forward fragrance. A lot of F's in that sentence. In this initial opening. So this is kind of, for me, leaning a little bit on the feminine side, but it's a really nice kind of floral combination that's going on here. I can't pinpoint any one specific type of floral. It's just, I think it's just all of them, to be quite honest. It's a bouquet of florals going on here. So let's get this on paper. Let's dive in. So right off the rip, just smelling this off paper, very similar to how it was in the air, so very floral forward, but it does have some like amberiness that's going on to it, adds a little bit of additional sweetness. There's like a lot of kind of sweet floral, almost aromatic floral that's going in there, but it's this amber that's coming in is kind of adding to that sweetness and almost kind of warming things up ever so slightly, and some nice muskiness coming through. And there is that hint of the woods that's there to kind of, like I said, kind of pulling it back down into the more unisex territory for me personally, but still very much about this floral bouquet that's going on. As it's opening up a little bit more, that amberiness and that muskiness is starting to push forward a little bit more, but it's still very much about that floral core that's going on with this fragrance. And I will say that this is really well done in the sense that I find, like with women's perfume or even men's perfume, unisex perfumes that are like kind of floral forward, sometimes it can be headache inducing for me. Like I tend to steer away from anything that's too floral because of that reasoning, but this seems to be balanced out quite nice. It's just kind of blended well enough, and it's not too like in your face, if you will, that it's kind of headache inducing. I think it's really kind of smoothed out. I think that the amberiness, that muskiness that comes through, and that touch of woods is kind of just pulling those florals down just enough so it doesn't become kind of too overwhelming. And I think it's just really well done in that sense. Yeah, this is quite nice. Don't think this is going to be something I'm going to wear necessarily, because it is has that floral kind of core going on to it, but it's a very nice smelling fragrance. But let's skip to the dry down, see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. All right, back with the dry down of Zoha Aroma's Arabian Nights. Been about an hour, let it settle down, do its own thing. Really nice dry down on this. It's got this kind of nice, smooth, silky muskiness that came through that's mixing in with that floral accord. And it did get a little bit warmer, so this like warm amber that's mixed in there adds a bit of texture going on to it, and it just kind of warmed up that floral accord, and it mixes in really well with that kind of smooth, silky, velvety style of musk that's there. And overall, it's a really enjoyable style of fragrance. Like I said, this one's not going to be personally for me. I'm finding this one still kind of tilts on the feminine side. It opened up very feminine for me. In the dry down, it's moved a little bit more into the unisex territory with that muskiness and that amber that's come through. So I do think this is a unisex style of fragrance. I think dudes that are kind of into the more of the kind of like the floral accord towards, like a really kind of opulent bouquet of florals with that muskiness and that amber, will enjoy this fragrance. I think it smells nice, it's really well put together. It's just not my personal vibe, but that's not taking a knock against the fragrance. I think it's a really well put together fragrance. So overall, for, what did I say, $45, I think Zoha Aroma did it again. They make some pretty nice fragrances, and this is like my 5th or 6th one I've tried of them, and they never disappoint. So overall, pretty impressed with this one. Just personally not for me, but it might be for you. That's Zoha Aroma's Arabian Night. All right, next up, going to the house of Cederland Perfumes, and it's Cederland Perfumes inspired by Spice Bomb Extreme. Now you can scoop this bad boy up for $40. I believe this gentleman is out of Alberta, Canada, and I like that he just kind of gets to the point. No fancy naming conventions going on here. He just tells you what this fragrance is inspired by, and on his website he's got a lot of fragrances that you can choose from. So lots of cologne fragrances on his site. I think I just mentioned $40, you can pick this up for, and so yeah, let's just get into the box presentation. Does have a nice kind of slide out, kind of book jacket sort of presentation. Nice thick cardboard going on to this. Name of the fragrance house right there, and some nice shimmery gold. All the necessaries on the back. And then we have our bottle sitting in this nice kind of fuzzy podium that's going on there. So decent box presentation going on for this. And ooh, it's really sitting in there. So nice and snug inside that box. And bottle presentation on this, also quite nice. Nice kind of rounded corner, kind of square going on to it. It's got kind of a grip texture going on the side there. Cap on this, kind of nice rectangular style of cap on this. Plastic, but I don't think I can crush this in my powerful hand. It does have some thickness going on to it. And the atomizer on this bad boy. Nice fat puffs, doesn't go too far, but it'll absolutely get the job done. But what does this smell like? So right off the rip, just smelling this in the air, undeniably, this is really well done. A clone inspired by of the Viktor and Rolf Spice Bomb Extreme, like impressively close to this one. And for those of you who've been watching this for a bit, the Spice Bomb series is like one of my favorite designer fragrances, and he really nailed it on this one. The same sort of spice profile going on to it. You're getting hints of that tobacco. There's little hints of some vanilla in there, adding some sweetness, but it's really that spice profile. He's absolutely nailed it. So let's dive in, shall we? Yeah, so right off the rip, just smelling this off paper, beautiful spice profile going on here. So it's got that kind of cumin, cinnamon, saffron, almost like peppery sort of vibe going on to it. A little warmth coming from some whiskey accord, not an overly boozy style of whiskey that's coming through, but it just kind of adds that warmth and almost that kind of spice you get from a bourbon whiskey, mixing in with that other, mix of those spices, and you're still getting that tobacco, a little hint of the vanilla. The vanilla is kind of tucked in behind, so it's really about that spice profile right now with that kind of dry, earthy tobacco coming through. Really close to that Spice Bomb Extreme. I think the only difference I'm noticing right now is like the sweet aspect of this one is dialed back just a little bit more, and it's really about that spice profile, which I kind of enjoy because I really like that spice profile. Very nice. As it's opening up a little bit more, you're getting that tobacco starting to push forward a little bit more. Not like an overly dominant tobacco, but that dry earthiness mixing in with those spices is starting to kind of blend together a little bit more. It's less about those spices being like the star of the show, and it's starting to kind of share the stage a little bit more. And it is starting to kind of develop a little bit warmer. I'm getting more of that vanilla starting to push up. So it's still not quite a sweet fragrance, but it's starting to kind of smooth the edges, if you will, of that spice profile, and very much like that Spice Bomb Extreme. I'm really impressed so far. Yeah, this is really good. That's all I gotta say. This is really good. So let's skip to the dry down, see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. All right, back with the dry down of Cederland Perfumes, inspired by Spice Bomb Extreme. Been about an hour. Let's settle down, do its own thing. This is like impressively close to Spice Bomb Extreme. I'm really impressed with this one. Spice profile's there, a little bit more of that sweetness came through in this dry down, but it still holds on to that DNA of that spice DNA that the original Viktor and Rolf has that sweetness that's there, and it's just overall that tobacco leaf as well, that earthiness that's in there. It's just working for me. One of my favorite designer fragrances. I think this is just gonna be a great alternative to it. I don't think many people would be able to tell the difference. That's how well put together this is. So overall, Cederland Perfumes, I am really impressed, and for $40, I think this is a great kind of alternative choice for that. So I'm eager to try some of the million other inspired by fragrances on his website. So pretty happy with this one, if you can't tell. Might be worth checking out. That's Cederland Perfumes, inspired by Spice Bomb Extreme. And I want to hear from you guys. What are some more like indie houses that I might not be aware of that I should be definitely checking out? Comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Love getting your different recommendations, your hidden gems, different taste and scent profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.